I hope you're doing well. Today is going to be somewhat of a spontaneous sketchbook session. The reason being is that I haven't planned anything. I just came back, well, we came back a few days ago from Cornwall and haven't painted in a while, and it was my birthday celebration the week before. So it's a typical situation where I'm going to just start getting like a little bit of a warm-up before I get to any kind of ideas or developing a project or something like that. So what I'm going to start with is this color wheel. If you remember from previous sessions that we did on the new botanical watercolor palette that I put together, I have here Aussie Red Gold, Paraline Scarlet and Cobalt Teal. So this is going to be my triad. I always encourage my students to play with colors and to explore and to have fun and think out of the box and break the rules. So for my yellow, I will have slightly more orange yellow. So it's going to be this one right here. And then I have, let me show you the biggest swatches. So it's this one. And then Paraline Scarlet is this beautiful red, which is this one or this one here. And then we have Cobalt Teal, which is my own Cobalt Teal. So my Cobalt Teal is bang in the middle of green and blue. And I also have beautiful pigment separation in there as well, with that stunning turquoisey cobalty blue peeking out through. So it's a really, really beautiful color that I formulated. By the way, I had some questions in regards to my larger sets and whether I will have the tubes available. I am planning to put them back into my new shop after moving from Etsy, so stay tuned. I am hoping to be able to do it next week, and then yeah, they should be available. I would of course prefer to sell them as sets, as this is what I designed them to be used as, but I understand that some of you really like certain colors and you'd like to get a full tube. Also, another thing is I'm going to be redesigning the tubes, and this was my first tube watercolors that I have had manufactured, and of course with your first you always kind of work on the design, you go with what feels right. So I wasn't really happy with the caps at the time when I was placing the order, but I just went ahead with it because it was before Christmas and I wanted the watercolors to be out in time. But like I said, I will be changing the design and the look of the tubes, and the next will have a different cap, and therefore I'm going to reduce the price. But just to let you know that by the time they will be on my shop, the tubes will be reduced at a reduced price, and I will also reduce the entire sets as well. Alright, so now let's start. There I am chatting to myself without realizing I haven't recorded any of it. So, I wonder at which point I have stopped recording. So basically, we've got Aussie Red Gold. Now we're moving on to Paraline Scarlet. I'm doing a gradual intensity, trying not to touch the colors in between because they will blend and the intensity of one swatch will go into the other, where the whole idea is to have a separation. If you wonder what these are and you're new to this channel, first of all, welcome, and second of all, these are the color wheels. Let me get a set to show you from my color theory build your own clear stamp sets, and there are loads of other stamp sets as well available if you love playing around with your swatches or color mixes and kind of exploring color theory, and they are available on my online shop. If you go to my website alyonacreates.com, you will find it there. Okay, next color, cobalt teal. This is the color that is available in the ultimate palette, and this is the mini set, so it's exactly the same. It's the same colors as I just showed you in the big set right here, but of course these are more affordable to buy as there is a smaller amount of paint than the tubes. But like I said, the tubes will be going on reduction soon, on sale. But yes, if you wanted to get a smaller set, this is a good one to get. And the cobalt teal is beautiful. I have designed and formulated the color to be that perfect teal that I love. It's a super granulating color because of the cobalt nature, but it has a fun element. I mean, how gorgeous does the nail polish, which is like a orangey red, look next to this teal? The color combo is stunning. It's that beautiful tropical holiday Maldives type of a water. Love it. Not the color of the water. Okay, so here is our sort of primary. And let's now play around. So I've got to go back to my Aussie, and then I'm going to create a lovely little puddle here. Parylene Scarlet. Actually, I'm going to try and insert the color of the water in Cornwall where we stayed. There's a beautiful beach just 10 minutes from Fowey Hall. Stunning place to stay. Has so much history. And yeah, I'll do a vlog, or like a vlog with pictures and things like that next week when I have a bit more time. I think some of you would really love to see it for inspiration. So obviously this is going to be a really beautiful orange, where this is not your kind of lemon yellow type of yellow, so it's already going towards the orange. This orange will be somewhere in between the two, and I'm going to just mix up a little puddle here with a lighter color. So most pigment is in the first swatch, bit more water in the second, and very watery, hardly any pigment in the third. And when you're learning about colors, or when you're getting used to your new palette that you set up, it's really helpful to just play around. Okay, so here obviously nothing too exciting is going to happen, although it's a beautiful color. But what we're looking at is these two mixtures. Now they are going to be pivotal to this color wheel. So let's explore. Fresh water, clean dish, and let's go back into Parylene Scarlet. So there's our Parylene Scarlet. Now Cobalt Teal. Start somewhere on the side. If you don't know how intense the colors are, the two colors are that you are mixing, just start somewhere. And that's obviously too red still, so I'm going to add a bit more and see where I'm kind of like happy. This is going to be more of a like a gray aubergine type of a color, like a moon glow. And there's a lot of action in this color, so I'm going to start It's a good idea to use loads of water here because you'll see a lot of granulation and pigment separation, and that's happening from the cobalt teal right there. And then even more water. So these type of color mixtures, they're great to achieve textures and things like that. So if you are, for example, painting a landscape where you'll have plenty of texture, or you're painting water, a woodland scene, or loads of different things really, where you need texture, it's a great way to introduce this kind of playful color mixing. And you know, it just won't be boring. Those mixes are never boring in my view. Okay, let's do the next one. Next one we have Aussie Red Gold and Cobalt Teal this time. So about this much, and then we're going into Cobalt Teal. So basically what happens in the color wheel, traditionally you want to have your primaries, which would be a yellow, a red and a blue. Using them you then create your secondaries, which would be the colors in between, so an orange, a purple and a green. So the question here is, what type of a green will we get? And what type of a green will we settle with? So for instance, it could be something like that. It could be something like this, or it could be something like that. And it is up to you to pick the color that you like. I'm kind of in between these two. And I really like this sort of warm toned green. It's like a matcha type of a green. Really beautiful color. And I would expect some beautiful pigment separations here as well because of the cobalt teal again. So let's see what happens. So you can see it's happening here. And then a bit more water. Like that. So that's quite beautiful. Always wait completely until everything is dry, and then you'll be able to judge the final result perfectly, because sometimes things can still develop slightly during the drying during the drying process. How about these colors in the tray? How gorgeous are they? So you can see, because I pumped up the green in my cobalt teal, you get these really, really stunning pigments popping up. Clearly I haven't filmed in a while because this is the second time I forgot to switch on the recording button. So I don't even know where we started. So sorry. Anyways, so what I've done is I created the wheel, we waited for it to dry, and now I want to translate these colors into an illustration. So I quickly just drew some botanical elements, kind of floral, kind of like seed pods and that type of thing, and leafage. And I am now going to focus on adding color to it. Just doing a few finishing touches. If you find drawing botanical art a little bit complicated, or you don't know where to start, I also have designed a botanical stamp set, which is also available on my website, Alyona Creates, in the online shop. And all you need to do is just pick some of the elements. They all work beautifully together. It's another build your own stamp set. I tend to design them as build your own because you can play around and you can create your own kind of clusters of florals in this case. And yeah, you can do all sorts of different things. It's never just to print one element. Like there are so often stamp sets that just have one element in there and that is it. So once you use it, your art will constantly look the same because you can't change it around. And here you can design so many things, and I personally think it's a fantastic value you get for your money because they're great quality. They're made in UK, so everything is tip-top, and therefore you can use those to help yourself a little bit and then just dive straight into adding watercolor. So this is it for illustration. Now I'm just going to go ahead and start adding color in the same way that I've mixed it up. So I quite like this orange that we got here, so I'm going to go back into Paraline Scarlet, and what we're going to do is just use mixed colors, not as they come straight from the pan, but mix them up like so. And I will go ahead and add it right here. I'm kind of going to take the inspo from my nail color next to the cobalt. I think it's such a beautiful combo, like I said before. So what I'm going to do is kind of play on that color combo a little bit and see if I can stretch it a little. So I'm just going to add lighter color mix just here and then maintain a little highlight. And then what else? Let's go for this type of a kind of like a gray color. I'm going to go straight in. I need a bit more of the cobalt teal. And a bit more of the red. This is actually a pretty color, but I still want a little bit more of the cobalt. Okay, so there we are. It's a lovely taupey color, and you can see it's going to start doing these sort of lovely granulations. I'm just going to dab it slightly in some areas to encourage the granulation and that textural effect, because this is sort of supposed to be like a dry seaport and therefore it's going to be quite textured. So next thing I want to do is add, I'm going to go into my palette and probably use that Neptamide Maroon. Okay, that's what it is. And just a little bit of it right into these smaller kind of berry inspired elements. And then let's focus on the green leaves. So the green was quite nice here. Let's go in to here and more into the cobalt. That's a lovely green. So what I can do is be a little playful, and here and there I'm going to mix up these colors. Somewhere I'm going to add a bit more water, in others I'm going to play on the ratio of adding one color to another. So look, when I'm pulling it out, I'm kind of pulling out a lot of this orange color here. So that looks quite pretty. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the Aussie green gold. And that's going to create a more kind of muddier type of green. And kind of bringing it closer and connecting it to the orange. So I'm also going to take it through here. If I feel that I'm losing the intensity of the color, I can just go ahead and dab in a little bit of this mix. And what's going to happen is you're going to create these kind of like speckles on the leaves. Often you can see them in the autumnal leafage. And then let's try and add a little bit more cobalt and make it kind of like greener. Trying to pull out some of these pigment separations, and then I'm going to go straight in almost. I'm going to take it out here on the, or mix it in slightly, and I'm going to add this color throughout the other leaves like so. And then I'm going to go back in and blend things a little bit. If you see your cobalt sitting there almost a little bit looking like mud, it just means you have too much pigment there and you might want to lift it just so you can see the color better. And you can also add a bit of water for extra movement of the pigment. Like so. Now, what shall I do with the centers? I think I'm going to go for something metallic. I think I'm going to go for this one. And that is Duochrome Autumn Mist. Okay. So I'm just going to add it. If you are done with your illustration and you think it kind of is looking sparse, it's absolutely fine. This is not a finished illustration. This is just to play with the color palette that we have mixed up here. So you're taking it further and you're just exploring things rather than just doing swatches all the time. You want to add some, you know, some color to your paintings. You can also, if you really wanted to, you can then start adding a little bit more detail. So I could add more leaves if I really wanted to. You can build on it, you can create like more of the same. You can just explore further and fill the illustration. If you really like the color palette, you know, just go with it and see what happens. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of detail, and then I will see you in a minute. I just carried on adding more detail and just kind of expanding the illustration and then dipping into the other colors from my palette and not just strictly allowing myself to use those three, mixing in between. And it has been fun to just explore a color palette, just a few colors. So this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about it. And I personally really love the cobalt teal coming through in a lot of these mixtures, even when it's just mixed in and it's not a color on its own. And then of course once you do add the color mostly on its own, it kind of connects to those speckles of the cobalt teal coming through here and there in the illustration. So you're kind of just connecting everything together, including in these seed pods as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.